Good morning, Blackfire. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Damn ads. Good morning, Omani. Good morning. Good morning. Good to see you. We're here. We're back. Good morning, crew. You're early today, man. Finally caught time to watch the stream early. Yeah, you're here for sure early, but glad you're able to do that. Oh, dude, that coffee's so good. Oh, I need to update that. Hold on, Ilmanian. Hold on, that's not what we're doing today. Let's see. I need to pick a front end technology for the personal finance app I am building. SolidJS is in the running, so I want to explore it before committing. There we go. That's really what we're doing. Good morning, Peter. Good morning, Anonymous Panda. Let's see. Oh boy, I know I'm in trouble if I'm still awake when Steven starts streaming. Yes, that means you've stayed up far too late. Good morning. What are we building today? Finally caught a stream. I don't have anything in mind to build, but I think I am going to go through the SolidJS tutorial to see what SolidJS is like. I need to pick a technology for my front end. And so before I commit to this thing wholeheartedly, I kind of want to see what it's like first. So that's what we're gonna do at least for part of the day today. Maybe not the whole day, but for part of it. Good morning, Almighty. Bro, always forget to update. I do forget to update it. But then when you use it, you remind me. So there we go. That's your job. I've officially passed off some of my responsibility to you. Let's see, I got founding rendering engineer job, had to read WebGL fundamentals and WebAssembly. Well, that's awesome. Congratulations. Congratulations, man. I hope you're excited about that. Yeah, that's awesome. Yes, good time zone to you too, Ducky Boy. Duckin' Boy. Rename terminal. Okay. So let's go ahead and jump down here into our repositories. Good to see you, Zeg. Welcome back to the Coffee Meister indeed, although this Coffee Meister needs to actually drink some more coffee because it's too early in the stream to be yawning like that. Alright, what am I supposed to do here? Create a solid project. Familiarity with the command line, a recent version of Node.js, Bun, or Dino. Do I have the latest version of Node?
Blackfire26299 is telling you to drink some coffee.
Thank you very much, Blackfire. Appreciate you looking out for me like that. Very excited, but really important role and a lot of responsibilities where I'm solo to solve pretty much, I'm guessing you were going to say pretty much everything. Yeah, that can definitely be stressful, but I believe you are more than capable. And I hope that your team though doesn't make you feel like you're on an island, right? Because being part of that's what being part of a team's about, right? It's having people that'll back you up. So hopefully you're not totally alone, you know? npm init solid. Oh, I was gonna look and see if I have the latest version. Hold on. Let's see. Latest version of Node. Oh, I do not. Let's see. Current version of Node is 25.6.1. Oh yeah, let's upgrade. Let's upgrade. I can't remember the commands. Let's see. mvm current, mvm install. Latest. mvm ls is that how you see all the ones that are available? And then do mvm use 25.6.1. Looky there. Looky there. Sorry, no list the ones installed. Yeah, that's still a helpful command though. Very helpful command. Although I don't think I have the latest. I should probably install the latest long-term release too. How do I remove them? Maybe nvm uninstall. I tell you what, Node Version Manager is just what a great tool, right? I want to try and make an OS. You want to try to make an operating system? Dude, that's intense. I have no appetite for that, man. That seems it seems like it would be a good learning experience, but it just seems like you would end up spending a lot of time down in the nitty gritty, reinventing a lot of wheels. But I guess if that's like what you want to do for a career, like you want to work kind of at the low level of these things, that might be a really good project for you. Okay. All right, now let's do make directory, or actually, let's do npm init solid, right? Crew, yeah, I won't be alone, but one of the founders is currently the rendering guy. I had 3 rounds of interviews, 2.5 hours technical interview. Wow. First question was Fermi's cage type of question. I don't even think I know what Fermi's cage is. Is that the thing that blocks magnetic Fermi's cage? It's a conductive enclosure. Okay, so I know what Faraday's cage is, but I don't think I know what Fermi's cage is. Doesn't look like Google knows what it is either. Well, I wouldn't have passed the interview, so kudos to you, man. Kudos to you. Let's see, project name. Let's just do solid exploration. What type of project would you like to create? SolidJS plus V. Yes. Which template would you like to use? Let's see, with Vitest, with router. I think I want to have the router. I think if I ended up using SolidJS, I would need the router. So, I guess start there. Let's see, new minor version of npm is available. Okay, let's go ahead and update npm. Shooksham, I would use Go for library and learning curve. Shooksham, do you know what's happening here? Because that question seemed like out of left field. Fermi's paradox. Okay, let me Google that. I don't know what that is, but I'm happy to learn about it. Good morning, Bob. Good to see you, sir. Hope you're doing well. Relico, hey dude, you got some resources you recommend for someone starting out? Do you still recommend C Sharp or Go or Rust? Relico, I always recommend people start with Free Code Camp. So I always tell everybody to go here and just learn JavaScript as their first language. Obviously, I would love for you to learn C Sharp, but I don't want you to feel like that's where you should start. Nor do I feel like you should nor do I feel like you need to start with Rust or Go. Like, I don't necessarily think any of those languages are necessarily maybe the most convenient ones to start with, but they're all good languages. I particularly like C Sharp. I like Go. Rust was very interesting. I liked it, but I'm far from done learning it. Like, I still have a long ways to go, I think, but it is a pretty cool language. Well, it's 3:40 in the morning, and I need to try and get at least 3 hours of sleep before my toddler wakes me up. Happy coding. Oh yeah, you need to go to bed. I hope you sleep well, Anonymous Panda. And when you get up in the morning with the toddler, just remember to have patience. Let's see, they were really focused to see how I think, throw me under the bus with a question that is more about thinking approach than about solving it. Well, I think that's a valid way to interview somebody for sure. Yeah. They probably want to see kind of what it looks like for you to solve a problem that isn't solved. If that is going to be a lot of what you're doing at your job. Definitely don't start with Rust. Yeah, probably. I don't know. I think it might be either preferable to start with Rust or to start. I don't know. I feel like almost if you started with Rust and you knew nothing about any other language, maybe that would make it easier. I honestly don't know. But I always say learn JavaScript, go to freecodecamp.org, do their full stack curriculum, see if you like programming, and then once you figure out if you like writing code, then you can kind of explore the languages from there. Blackfire, I'll have one up on those. I use Arch, by the way, people. Yeah, but like who fucking cares, right? It's like those people. If those are the kind of people who say like I use Arch are the same kind of people that if you said I built an operating system, they would still come up with reasons why you're not a real developer, you know. Manish, hey Stefan, long time no see. How you doing, man? It has been a long time, Manish. How are you? I'm doing well. Just drinking coffee, hanging out in my basement, chilling. I honestly prefer Python to learn how to learn coding, and that's totally valid. Totally valid. I think why I always favor JavaScript is because people can immediately start building software and sharing software. Right? JavaScript immediately gives you access to a browser or writing code that targets a browser, and I think that's honestly, I think that's probably why I think it's the better language. And then you can also immediately write code that runs on a server. So that's why I always recommend people learn JavaScript first. Good morning, Sean Soul. Good to see you. This is Sean. Hello, Sean. Good to see you. Let's see, off topic, but it's the end of the snake year here. So happy New Year to everyone in the East and C time zones. Very cool. Happy snake year to you too. I don't know really what that means, but I hope it's a good thing. Let's see, Manish. Instead of SolidJS, have you tried Svelte? Even Syntax's channel members prefer it. So I haven't tried Svelte, but we could try Svelte. Before I committed to SolidJS, I just wanted to kind of take it for a test drive, you know? I want to date before I marry because this project's going to be a little bit of a long-term project. It's going to be where I have a lot of financial data hopefully stored over a long period of time. So before I commit to a front-end technology, I just want to feel like I actually like it, you know? So I don't want to go in blind quite yet. I use Java, one of the greatest decisions I made. Nice. I've never written any Java. I've read some Java. Java to me looks very similar to C Sharp. But that's awesome. I'm glad you found a language that you really like. That's the only thing that really matters to me is I just want people to be able to enjoy their tool chain, whatever that is. You know, life's too short to use a programming language you don't enjoy. Unless I guess you're making money from it, then it's a different thing. Chancel, have you worked at big tech before? I have not. I am not a FANG alumni. I'm not one of those people that puts X Netflix or X Twitter or X Facebook in their LinkedIn profile. I have worked in big food. I don't know if that counts, but I have worked in big food. Angular is marriage material. Nobody uses Angular. Well, I don't think that's true. I think a lot of people use Angular. The Chinese New Year. Oh, okay. Now I see what you're saying, Duck Boy. I follow you. Mui said true. Just some small companies called Google. Sean sold big food. Yeah, like the food industry. Yeah, I worked for about 7 years as a food scientist, developing food products for a large frozen food manufacturer. Please try Java if you're working with financial data. Well, I'm sure there's a lot of languages that are built that work with financial data. But no, my backend's written in C#. My backend's already gone pretty far down the line. The Angular is a proper framework. React is not. Vue is not. Svelte is a compiler framework. Well, I think React has Next, right? And Vue has Nuxt. And obviously, I'm aware that Angular kind of has a more of a boilerplatey system. Does Angular support server side rendering? Do they have an SSR solution? And then obviously Svelte has SvelteKit. And I think SolidJS has Solid Start. Nice. I didn't know Angular had that. Very cool. But no, I think so I think right now the candidates for this application are either Vue, SolidJS. I guess we could explore SvelteKit or Svelte. Or a Blazor server app. It'll be one of those. But before I choose, I kind of wanted to explore the technology first. A teeny tiny company called Cisco is hiring here. What? That is such a small company. I bet they're not even listed on the New York Stock Exchange. A Carbit. Hello. Good to see you. See, another tiny unknown company. Yeah, Google, Cisco. Who are those people? All right, what did I call this? I think I called this solid exploration. And we'll do npm run dev. No, npm install. Dude, I can't get out of... I watched so much of the Primogen stream last week, I can't get that pim out of my head. Pim. Pim run. Pim stall. I've never seen a live like this in my country. It looks like fun. Well, welcome in. We're here every morning. Pim. Am I using a TUI? I am using, this is PowerShell running in Windows Terminal. By looking at Steven right now, I think he's been drinking coffee for 32 years. Not 32 years, but for quite a while. I probably started drinking coffee regularly in 7th or 8th grade. Yeah, for a while. Chancel for front-end TypeScript and for back-end Spring Boot. So I've never written any Java, so I don't know Spring Boot. But I would agree with you, TypeScript is the preferable language for the front end. Why not use PNPM? It's actually good. I've just never used it. I'm a vanilla guy, you know, just using that good old npm run dev. No bun. I don't know if I have bun installed. Let's see, bun. Nope. I think I might have Dino though. Yeah, I have Dino. Bob, no. Good old NPM is slow. I'm just, I'm scared of new things, Bob. I'm just kidding. I don't know why. I just never. I guess NPM has always done the job for me, so I just haven't, I guess, ever felt the need to use a different package manager. Let's see. All right, so this is very basic. So you have a home, error, 404 not found. Oh, they're displaying the URL here. Okay. We've got your basic counter. Nice. Let's look at the code real quick. Whoops, I ran this in the wrong terminal. Bob must not have worked on some huge. Yeah, no, I have not. I have not worked on any large. Nothing beyond like a single package. Yeah, nothing beyond that. No mono repo life for me. What Linux distro do you use? I do not use Linux. I am a Windows boy. Why don't you use Bun? Isn't it like just better without the downside? I don't know what downside there is to Node. So me not using Bun is not a reflection on Bun or a reflection on Node. It's just the fact that I've just always used Node and it's been good enough, and so I don't know. Not there. I don't really have a good explanation. Let's see, exploring the template. The template's goal is to showcase the routing features of Solid. It also showcases how the router and suspense work together to parallelize data fetching tied to a route via the data TS pattern. You can learn more about it here. Okay. So let's take a gander here. So it looks like we have a routes file. That looks pretty familiar, pretty normal. Got a path, declare a component. Looks like we can lazy load the component. Looks like they have the idea of like data fetchers or something. This guy's not happy about his typing. Object literal may only specify known properties, and data does not exist in the type route definition. Huh. That's interesting. So what does this do? So it looks like we have a wait. We have a random function. We have some sort of function that creates a query. What's that? Okay. Oh, this is probably kind of like if you guys have ever used TanStack, right? Or what is the other one? What's the other query solution? Forget the name of it. Is it TanQuery? There's another one out there. I can't remember it. Maybe React Query or something, but this is like a key for this. This is like the name for this particular function. And then you have a create async, which does something, I don't know, create some sort of callback or something. And then we expose that through the about data. Okay, and then in the about tsx file, we call it, and then create effect, I guess that runs whenever the thing runs. And then you have your index.txt file. That looks pretty familiar. I'm having a lot of type errors though, so now I'm kind of worried that something's not quite right. Looks like they have a DevTools plugin or something. This all looks very JavaScript frameworky, you know? Doesn't seem crazy. Doesn't seem crazy at all. Use location, so that's how they're getting the URL. Let's see, index.js. This is pretty basic. You've got your root div there. Got a vite config. Okay, so we've had a look around the code. Now let's go look at the documentation a little bit. MUI. Oh, it has TSX. I guess so. D Ledger. Hey Steve, never heard about MithrilJS? I wonder why it never took off. I have heard about MithrilJS. There's a YouTuber that I like to watch. His name's Marco, and he did a video about MithrilJS. Let's see, Marco dev log. Yeah, this guy with Marco, he did a video on Mithril. It looked cool. I just think I think those type of libraries give people very old school jQuery vibes. Why? I don't know. I think people have just gotten so used to these declarative frameworks that anything that's not that is different. This reminds me of how people used to write like Vue apps. It's a cool little library for sure. I just don't think it doesn't look like JSX, and I think people have gotten they really like the declarative markup.
Been seeing your content lately on my feed. Great stuff, man. Keep it up.
Oh, that's what. First of all, that's too kind. I don't deserve such kindness, but thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. It's small and it seems similar to SolidJS. I could see this. I could see some of the similarity. But I think SolidJS must support JSX. I don't know if Mithril supports JSX. But it is cool. Better to learn than by following a course. I do like project-based learning, although I think there's always a time and a place whenever you're getting started with something to sit down and look at the docs and maybe go through a tutorial or two. MUI, do you use LSP Saga to show types in place? I don't think I use LSP Saga. No, I don't think I use that. Manish, any good course or channel for learning C# for beginner? I want to learn it in part-time. Manish, Free Code Camp has a pretty good introduction to C# that you could check out. I'm also coding right now, Java Quarkus. Nice. How do I get better with C#? I feel like I've been stagnating after 6 months in the internship right now. I think the only way to get better at any programming language is to write more of it. Blackfire, always RTFM. What is RTFM? You ever try Helix instead of NeoVim? I tried Helix for like an hour over lunch one day, and it didn't grab me personally. But I haven't been back, so it may have gotten a lot better in recent months. I don't think LSP Saga is necessary anymore. NeoVim has supported type inlays since 0.10. Well, there we go. We don't even need LSP Saga. Manish, took a little long to reply, but thanks for the reply, man. I will definitely look into it after your stream. Oh yeah, for sure, Manish. I can link it to you for you too. Sorry, sometimes I fall behind in chat. When I take my eyes off of chat, sometimes I fall behind.
It's the only way I can comment, as I haven't been subbed for more than 5 Minds XD.
Oh, dude, you
enjoy your day.
Dude, you did not have to super chat in order to. That's way too kind. I really do appreciate that, but you didn't have to do that. Thank you very much. Let's see. It's incredibly kind of you. I hope you have a great day as well. There you go, Manish. I just put the link to the free code camp course in chat for you. Let's see. Why solid, or just because it's a solid framework? I see what you did there. So I think Bob was the one that suggested SolidJS, and Bob's suggestions are usually pretty on point. So I thought, well, let's take it for a test drive this morning. Used to mean read the fucking manual, but TJ would say read the friendly manual. Nice. RTFM, always RTFM. Okay, I like that. That's a good one. Safarl, no problem. Okay, look, you've been subscribed for more than 5 minutes. You can comment now. Let's see. I used to use a lot of the original remix. It was pretty fire. Well, I'd love to try at some point the new one. When does it release? Remix version 3. When's that come out? Is it already out? Let's see, release date. Early 2026. Okay, I guess we just gotta wait around. Yeah, no, I would love to try that out. I think OpenCode Web GUI uses SolidJS. Nice, nice. Anonymous, first front-end framework. No, I've historically always used either React or Vue. And in the last like 24 months, every front end that I've built has pretty much been Vue. I've become a Vue boy. I was a React boy for a little while, and now I'm a Vue boy. But I'm always open to exploring new things, you know. I don't know why people say Python is slow. I mean, Python is slow compared to C or C++. Not even that slow to run code, which it probably took 1 to 6 seconds for my code to run, which I think is not that long. It was probably going to be slower if you make a big program, but for most people, it's enough. Well, I think Python is definitively slow compared to a lot of other languages, but I think there's good reasons for that, right? Why is it slow? There's reasons, right? You pay a price for that convenience and simplicity. But yeah, I think for most people, you know, slow is relative, right? Like, what's your use case? What's your context? How fast does fast need to be? Let's see, I don't know, haven't kept up, only used the old one. I feel ya. Would be hard for the new one to get any better. So apparently the new remix version 3 is like a whole new thing, apparently. It's like almost like a rewrite, essentially. Mike, you know a great front-end framework is Fresh from Dino? I do not know of a front-end framework that's from Dino. D-Ledger, wait, you're manual coder, no AI assistance? I do use AI to assist me in terms of like answering questions or looking things up, but lately I haven't been using much AI to author code. It uses Preact under the hood, sends minimal JS to the browser. Nice, nice, very cool. ng Tontai, learn Astro. Man, everybody has their favorite JavaScript framework for sure. David Bailey, good to see you, man. Good to see you, Minister of Defense. JavaScript? Ugh. What are you talking about? I thought you liked JavaScript but didn't like TypeScript, Minister of Defense. Anonymous, I'm a full-on Svelte boy. Well, somebody mentioned Svelte earlier, and I would definitely consider using Svelte. I've never used it before, so I would definitely consider taking Svelte for a front end for a test drive. Let's see, editing a front end right now that uses WebGL and WASM, which is nuts. Claude to make huge edits to it, and it's blazing fast. I don't think it even uses a framework for the front end other than those tools. Wow, that's crazy. Svelte gang, throw them up. What's the gang sign for Felt? Some sort of S? Svelte over here, gang gang. Vanilla, only real G's do JS. I still prefer TypeScript. My friend took 8 months to get decent in front end, but here I am, not clicked after 2 years, so I'm a back-end guy in Go. Wanted to explore C# after looking. You type like you speak C# day to day. I'm not the best C# developer, but I feel at home in C#. Let's see, Lua is pretty simple as well, but I don't believe it's as slow as Python. I wonder why that is. I don't know what the speed is of Lua. I've never really written much Lua except to configure NeoVim. That's the most Lua I've written in my life. I downloaded a non-AI project from GitHub to use as a base. Oh, that's smart. Yeah, that's super smart. Lua compiles fully in something like 5 seconds. It's lightweight interpreter compared to Python. Interesting. Well, is Lua compiled? I guess I didn't realize Lua is a compiled language. Svelte is compiler based, and yes, I mentioned it before. Yes, you did mention it, Manish. I'm a Go infra systems engineer. I barely touched JS in my career, and when I had touched it, I hated it. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. As the Python slow, I'll remind everyone my 2025 AOC is all standard lib Python, and all solutions run in 400 milliseconds combined. That's impressive. So maybe Python isn't slow. Maybe that is an unfair knock against Python. Chili Senpai, hello. I tried to join your Discord server. You're welcome to join the Discord server. There is an application on it. That's so that we can keep the riffraff out. I can't tolerate all these internet trolls. But I would be happy to. Now, granted, if you misbehave yourself, I will very quickly drop the ban hammer. Did we all start coding with JS? JS tested my commitment to perfection. I started coding with C# is where I started.
Did we just become best friends?
Did someone sub? Thank you very much for that sub. Oh, no, that's Pairbender. Thank you, Pairbender, for the follow on Twitch. Appreciate that, man. People think Python's slow. I don't know. Maybe Bob found a way to write it where it's not slow. Maybe you just have to know what you're doing. I started coding in assembly because my high school programming teacher demanded it. That's intense, Ryan. Also, good morning. Lua is easy to embed. It's used a lot in games. You rarely build full apps in it. Different use case than Python. Interesting. Lurk away, duck boy, lurk away. All right, reactivity keeps the user interface and state in sync, which reduces the need for manual updates. Real-time updates create more responsive, interactive user experience. All right, so we've got our counter, which is created with a create signal. So this is almost like a use state call. And then you've got a function called increment that uses this function to set the count. It's like takes a function whose first caller is the previous value, and then you do stuff to it. Okay. Signals serve as core elements in reactive systems, playing an important role in data management and system responsiveness. Use a setter to update. and a getter to get access. So count is a getter that returns the current value. Nice. And set count is a setter that updates the value of count. Let's see. Subscribers are the core element in reactive systems. They are responsible for tracking changes in signals and updating the system accordingly. They are automated responders that keep the system up to date with the latest data changes. Okay, observation and response. The create effect will trigger the console log every time the count changes. Let's see. Is that in our app? I'm too used to all the React hooks. Yeah, I know. That's how when I see stuff, I always map it back onto React or Vue. But I think it's a kind of a good practice. It's a good practice to kind of try to find similarities between things, see the commonalities. So if I do create effect here, and I do console.log count. Okay, that's pretty handy. It's funny, all these frameworks kind of all provide the same thing in a lot of ways. I know the implementations differ, but the end result for the user, you kind of end up in the same world. Just in time for this Chad stream. Oh, there's nothing Chad about this stream over here, Brett. It is far from Chad. Just got done working on my coding challenges. I can't believe I was coding for 16 hours. You coded for 16 hours? Holy shit, bro. That's a marathon. Chill Senpai. 250 repository? What do you mean 250 repository? So that's basically hooks, state, and hooks and effects. Yeah, so essentially, yeah. And they use signals, I guess, under the hood to facilitate a lot of this. But yeah, ultimately, like you said, you're basically just talking about, yeah, at the end of the day, you're just talking about the same type of stuff. In your account? Oh, you mean on GitHub? Yeah, but I mean that's 250 repositories over like 5 years, and some of those repositories are just like not throwaway repositories, but a lot of those repositories are me like exploring ideas or learning new topics or technologies. So it's not every one of those repositories on my GitHub is like a meaningful thing, you know. It just represents something that I was learning or doing or experimenting with at that given point in time. Let's see, updating the UI. The UI of a solid application is built using JSX. JSX creates a tracking scope behind the scenes which allows signals to be tracked within the return statement of a component. Okay. Components, much like other functions, will only run once. This means that if a signal is accessed outside of the return statement, it will run on initialization, but any updates to the signal will not trigger an update. Okay. Easy peasy. See, we've got synchronous reactivity. How do you do asynchronous reactivity? Asynchronous reactivity is when a system responds to changes in a delayed or nonlinear fashion. When a signal changes, the corresponding subscribers are not immediately updated. Instead, the system waits for a specific event or task to complete before updating the subscribers. This is important in scenarios where subscribers depend on multiple signals. In these cases, updating one signal before another could result in data inconsistency. That makes sense. We're like this is not a tutorial at all. This is like going into like the very nitty-gritty details of. Okay, here's the basics. Okay, component tree, component lifecycle. I mean, so far I just get the vibe that this is a JavaScript front end. You know what I mean? Like I'm not getting the vibe this is significantly different from anything I've ever worked with before. Event handlers. KKK. Oh, they do. Okay, let's see what this is. Context. Context provides a way to pass data through the component tree without having to pass props down manually. Context is created using the createContext function. Damn it. I don't care for the context API. And it looks like they have a very similar implementation. Excuse me. Stores are state management primitive. Excuse me, that provides a centralized way. Excuse me. Bob Knoll, update on the Erman Miller chair. I had a broken wheel. You would think they would send a replacement wheel, but they sent me a whole new chair overnight. Okay, that just shows that Erman Miller has too much money on their hands and their chairs should be much cheaper. You know what I mean? Like, who does that? Let's see, the real good stuff is in the meta frameworks that handle the SEO and head. How do you do that in Solid? I think Solid has its own meta framework. Yeah. The best use case of fast language like C++ is if you want to make something that you need to run fast like a game engine. Yeah, I think anytime you need something that you have to have like really incredible performance and you need a lot of control, some sort of systems programming language is probably best. Pairbender, hello Pairbender. Thanks for hanging out there on Twitch long enough to stop and drop a comment. Appreciate you. Thank you very much for the follow. See, I wrote a list function that takes a list of symbols, coerces them to strings, splits the strings into namespaces and func names, finds each file path and loads it into memory in 137 lines of code. Nice! Sounds like you were grinding. Let's see, Pairbender. Yeah, I want to watch people making not games. Fair enough. Well, I'm making a finance app is what I've been making over the last week or so. And now it's time to build the front end or to start building the front end. So I'm trying to pick a technology to use. I was either going to use Vue or Blazor Server, but apparently this is a newer JavaScript framework that I haven't used before called SolidJS. So I'm just doing a little bit of exploration. So I wonder why you use a store over a signal. Oh, these signals are created lazily. That's nice. Hmm. Reconcile, what's that? When new information needs to be merged into an existing store, reconcile can be useful. Reconcile will determine the difference between new and existing data and initiate updates only when there are changed values. That's pretty cool. Therefore, avoiding unnecessary updates. That's pretty cool. Refs or references are a special attribute. Okay, so they've got refs. Very cool. Yeah. So I'm kind of leaning, I guess, towards using this. I like CSS modules. I know people have strong feelings about CSS modules, but I like CSS modules, honestly. Crew, yeah, this is React-like approach. I just feel like it seems very familiar. So far, reconciles for deep objects, I guess, or if you're concerned about having to, like, if you have a big complex object coming from your backend and you just dump that into the front end view in some case, that reconcile function just allows you to make very specific updates where necessary instead of blowing away the whole state and re-rendering completely, I guess. People on Twitch, is that one pirate writing image? Signal is like use effect store is state. No, signal is like, I think, use state. Create signal is more like use state. And store, I think, is more like, I don't know, store. I don't even know what store would be like in React. Vue has the concept of stores. I feel like store would be like use state, but for like a complex object. See Pairbender, cool. I personally only know Vue and a little React. Well, I only know Vue and React, so we're on the same wavelength there. Are you a professional programmer? No, I do not. My day job is as a quality engineer, so I do manual and automated testing. That's what I get paid to do every day. But in my free time, I like to build stuff. Chill Senpai, which OS are you using? I'm using Windows 11. But you probably can't tell that it's Windows 11 because I have the taskbar at the bottom cropped out just to give me more screen real estate on my stream. But yeah, I'm using Windows 11. Does SolidJS have a framework like Vue has Nux and React has Next? Yes, I believe theirs is called Solid Start. I believe this is their meta framework. I think. But I don't really have need for a full, because I'm not going to use the server side functionality, or at least I have no plans to. My plan is just to have a plain spa with client side routing. What do you do as a quality engineer? Yeah, I just do manual and automated testing, Sean. So we build a web application. We build a really complex web application that's kind of like a no code, low code platform. So if you're familiar with something like Salesforce or ServiceNow, we have a platform that's kind of in the same vein. It's much more like business automation, process software. So think something between the lines of like in and Salesforce, something like that, where people can basically, it's basically like a place where people can build apps and surveys and wire up all kinds of automation and stuff. And my job is to just make sure it all works nicely. Where I guess I help. You know, I do it as part of a team. It's not just me. Ryan Salesforce. Yeah. Pairbender. I use a personal finance app and it sucks. So I use the personal finance app that I use currently is called YNAB, which stands for you need a budget, and it's good. If you're looking for one, it's definitely good. It just has a lot of functionality in it that I don't need. It also is not free, but it's good if you're looking for something. I just want to build something that's a little simpler and that doesn't cost me $15 a month. Hopefully. We'll see. I think I have to pay for Plaid usage, but I'm not sure how much I'll end up paying for it. My hope is it will be a little cheaper. Pairbender, well, depending on what country you live in, you need connectors to different banks, etc. Oh, for sure, yeah. I had to do a bunch of research to figure out a provider that all my bank accounts work with, and Plaid is the best option based on all the places I bank at. Plaid provides me the best coverage for connecting my banks. Chill Senpai, which language should I learn first? I always tell people to go learn JavaScript. That doesn't mean you have to, but like that's what I always recommend. Harsh Avard Han, how to get hired as a software engineer? So my take on this is that people make the software engineering hiring process more complicated than it needs to be. I think the way you get hired as a software engineer is the same way you get hired as a food scientist. It's the same way you get hired as a personal trainer. You have to obviously have the skills to do the work, and then you just look for job openings and you submit your resume and you follow up on your application as best you can, and you do that as much as you can so that you build the widest, biggest top of your funnel possible, and hopefully a certain number of those applications turn into interviews and a certain number of those interviews turn into offers, and you just grind it out until until you get the job you want. I mean, that's always been the case in my experience. Yeah, what Bob said. You apply for a bunch of jobs and you follow up like a madman, and you don't give up, and you stick with it, and you be enthusiastic, and hopefully eventually somebody says, "Hey, I like this guy. I want to give him a shot." Bob, I'm not off on President's Day. My wife and kids are though, so they're off today. All right. I just know this in TypeScript. Console.log hello. Well, that's probably not gonna be enough. Okay, the one question I have remaining about the SolidJS conversation. Ask Arturo, wait, so you don't work as a soft dev outside of YouTube? Nope, I just work as I mean, I guess it depends on what you define as a dev, but I write code every day at work. I just don't write code that builds features, but I write code that tests the features that other people build. when people compare programming languages, they focus on different things than I do. I have a lot of experience in performance, or like type safety are not, in my opinion, the things to focus on. I look at it like, what are you trying to make? Like if you want a desktop app, a web app, a throwaway script, a game, it's all going to change. I think that makes sense. Like what you're basically expressing, I think there, Pairbender, is you think about using the right tool for the job instead of trying to fit the job to the tool, which I think makes 100% sense. See, the Plaid balance API is 30 cents to 50 cents per request. Well, there we go. We got to manage that. We're going to have to manage that. Bob, you angered Steven with your lack of JavaScript knowledge, so he left. That's not it at all. I just had to throw away my orange peel. And I also need to get more coffee. So the only question I have about the SolidJS thing is how does let's see, SolidJS GitHub, is it open source? Yes, it is. Copy. I'm considering using SolidJS as the front end for a new application that I am building. The only real outstanding question I have is how this library handles. Oh, I guess they're probably in a separate router. SolidJS router. Is this all in the same repo? Or is it separate? No, this is separate. React SolidJS router. The only is how this library handles authenticated versus unauthenticated state on the client. Do they have something like route guards, or is there an established pattern for this type of situation, like protected routes or different layouts for log in versus log out? The auth API is $30 to $1 per request. Well, that's good to know. We're going to have to do some research on the pricing then, huh? Bob Knoll, import code. I didn't know Gemini could do that. I did not either until like late last week. I found that out. Steven always needs more coffee. He turns coffee into code, and from the looks of it, must be some pretty damn coffee. Well, I don't know. I don't know if my code's any good, but the coffee is for sure good. Gemini 3.1 model will drop next week. Nice, nice. Always nice to get one of these new, another LLM for everybody to spam the internet with content about. I'm sure when Gemini 3.1 drops, we'll see a whole new round of software engineering is dead. The thing is, at this point, as if you're into software engineering, you have nothing to lose because you're already dead. Your job has already died. So we have nothing to lose at this point. Right, so you could easily end up spending $15 a month on API calls if you check the balance once a day. Yeah, I'll have to run some math on that, Ryan. I need to do some research myself on that. David Bailey, that's the long blacks. Yeah, I don't put any sugar in mine typically, David, but it doesn't hurt every once in a while to sweeten the coffee up, you know? Sean Soul, I like grok. Well, good for you, my sir. I'm glad you have a model that you enjoy. I didn't know that Gemini could import code as well. Nice. Yeah, I was saying the other day that almost renders Copilot unnecessary for me. Grok is nice. Well, I'm glad you like grok, Sean. I saw people were talking about the speed of Python. Pure Python is like 3 to 10 times slower than pure C, but Python links to CLibs a lot, where the overhead of Python is much lower and it runs closer to the speed of C. Well, thank you for sharing those bits of information, Pairbender. Sean Soul, I like Elon, that's the reason. Well, you're allowed to like who you like, Sean. 100%. All right, the redirect pattern. The most common guard-like pattern is to use the preload function on a route. This function runs before the route is fully rendered, making it the ideal place to check for an authentication token or session. You can use the redirect helper to bail out of a route transition if the user isn't logged in. Okay. Nested routes for layout isolation. Solid Router allows you to nest routes to share layouts. This is the standard way to separate public versus protected views. By wrapping a set of routes in a parent component, you can centralize the authentication check for the entire section of the app. Your custom auth logic. Const user equals use auth. Excuse me. Because routes are just components, you can use Solid's React primitives to switch between different route sets entirely. Huh. Okay. Summary of primitives used before leave. Useful if you need to prevent a user from accidentally navigating away from a sensitive page. Maps component. Use this for immediate declarative redirection upon rendering a component. Ideal for fetching the user's session state reactively. Let's see, redirect, a helper specifically designed to be thrown inside data functions to interpret navigation. Okay. So they kind of have it. This is kind of very similar to how you do things in React. So that's not anything new or crazy or out of this world. Huh. Okay, I'm kind of torn. Let's see. I think SolidJS looks interesting, but at the same time, I don't know if I want to take on a new tech stack or a new technology. See, I mean, SvelteKit could also do great for a spa, but I don't know how you feel for delving into Svelte and Kit since they are quite big. The interactive tutorial is really nice, though. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know. Like, I want to learn new things, but at the same time, I also want to just build, and not necessarily be blocked by the fact that I don't know how to do things, you know, in this particular framework. Grok 420 drops this week. Sounds like a joke, but it's not. Well, obviously, you got to name a model 420 at some point. Duckboy, there's a limit on the size and how much code you can upload to Gemini, so remind me to delete node modules beforehand. Let's see. How is your screen rendering in a small window? I tried, but either need to make the display zoomed, which is cutting the content, or zoomed out with everything small. Good morning, Brain Dead Dev. I don't know. I'm not doing anything unique. I just I put my window in the part of my screen that's cropped to show on YouTube in the vertical and make it work. It's kind of painful to be in the small little window, but I make it work. Bob Noel, Yodelay is $1,000 per month. Why are these services so expensive? I have no idea. That sounds way too expensive, but I honestly have no idea why they're so expensive. Sorry, I kind of fell behind on chat here. What am I doing here spelling SvelteKit? Well, you're welcome to sell any framework you want, you know? Let's see. How is your? Oh yeah, sorry, Brain. I think I answered your question, Brain Dead Dev. I fell behind on the chat, but I think I answered you. I'm not doing anything special. I'm just sticking the window in the size of the source that I have in my streaming setup, and that's about it. Good morning, Boris. Good to see you. Let's see. Well, writing with something you are familiar with will let you at least flesh out the API, and you can redo the front end later. That's actually a pretty good idea, Pairbender. Like, start with something I know and then migrate it. It's not a bad idea. Anonymous, I get you, especially some of the decision fatigue included with it. Yeah, they're just whenever you're learning something new, then you start going down this rabbit hole of like, well, what are all the different ways people do this in this particular framework, right? And it just adds to the cognitive load. Boris, hey, you got a bit of a background going now. Been busy for a month or two. I do have a bit of a background. Yeah, I don't have any plants or anything like interesting like we talked about. I don't have any practicals back there, but I tried to have some sort of a background. Brain Dead Dev, thank you very much. Of course, yeah, always happy to answer questions. But yeah, not doing anything special. Okay, so I think what I've decided is not to use SolidJS. And I think I'm just gonna use Vue. And maybe after we get down the road a little bit with the Vue, if we decide that we want to migrate to something different, we can do that. I don't know. Or maybe I should just suck it up and try something new. Be dangerous. Be risky. I don't know. I'm going to go get some coffee first, and then we'll try to dive into this thing. Setting up the front end. David, feel like I'm with a kid at a candy shop. I don't. There's so many options, so many exciting things we could do. You know. What router do you usually use with Vue? I don't know much about Vue's ecosystem. I typically use Pina for state management, and then just the Vue router package for routing. I mean, that is one of the nice things about Vue is they have a really nice ecosystem of packages that are sort of like, these are the official standard packages to use for these things. You don't have to make too many decisions yourself, which is kind of nice. Yeah, so many activities. Pairbender, check out Nuxt. So Nuxt is very cool. I've used Nuxt before, but I don't think I have a need for Nuxt because I'm not doing anything with SSR. I just want to build something that I distribute as static files and just uses client-side routing. Keep it real basic, real simple. CPU usage on 100%. Is it? I think CPU usage is on an average of 30% right now. All right, I'll be right back. I'm gonna get some coffee and then let me update my stream titles because we're done. We're done exploring. Oh, whoops! I forgot to update my Twitch stream title actually. Okay. I say get the backend working first, even just as CLI or API. Then you'd have to show us your financials. Yeah, well, they have a sandbox environment, so we can use all test sandbox data to start with, and then we can eventually. I probably won't do any of my own personal banking information on stream, but we can use the sandbox environment. I'm at a point though where I have to have a front end. That's the thing is like I can't really go any further with the account setup flow until I have the front end because the front end requires using a specific link SDK from Plaid to like initialize the the login flow. So I sort of have at a place where I have to add a front end at this point. So that's why we're going to do that next. Boris, are you doing quant? No, not no, no, nothing like that. This is just going to be an application to track account balances over time and transactions over time. Pairbender, OAuth. So some of the banks that I think Plaid supports use OAuth under the hood. I'm not sure exactly what Plaid's I don't even know what they call it, what their protocol is. I think they call it Link, Link, Link. And I've shown the I've shown the flow before. Let me find it again. Let's see. Let's open this up. This is their flow for adding an account. So your front end has to provide a way to create what they call a link token, which essentially just means your front end makes a request to your back end, and your back end makes a request to their API. Their API gives you a link token, which you pass back to your front end. They have a front end JavaScript package that you give the link token to. Then that front end package, very similar to the Stripe API and how the Stripe setup works, their front end package establishes a secure connection with their service using an iframe. They deal with exchanging all of the bank account login information. They handle all of that. And then when the login succeeds, they give you a public token. That public token goes to your backend. Then your backend exchanges that for an access token. And then you save the access token in your database for future requests to their API. And I've implemented everything down here at this point. I've also implemented this portion, but now I need to implement the front end portion. So which is, I guess, step 1 and 2, step 5, step 6, and step 7. I need to still implement, but I need a front end to do it. So that's what we're going to do next. What database are you using, by the way? Go get your coffee. Yeah, I need to go get it. SQLite, what Bob said. Winterwind, hello, how are you? How's the coding coming along? I'm doing well. The coding is coming along just fine. All right, coffee time. I'll be right back. See you guys in a minute. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. Is it that slow to make coffee? Damn, Amanian. Get off my back, man. Let a guy make his coffee in peace. Alright. So, I was upstairs, and I was making my coffee, and I was kind of thinking to myself, maybe I should just use Blazor Server. Maybe I shouldn't even mess around with the front end framework. What is that? Blazor Server? It's like a .NET. It's a component. It's basically .NET's component UI that they offer. So if you want to build componentized user interfaces, you can use Blazor. And they have both they have a static site rendering model, they have a server-side rendering model, and a client-side rendering model, and you can sort of opt in and out of whichever thing you want. But it's a .NET thing. Or HTMX, I mean... yeah, we could do that. I don't know. I have paralysis analysis. And I think at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Go with Prime, Eng components, and Tailwind for CSS. I probably am not going to use any Tailwind. Let's see, I would just make the minimal UI you need to get auth working, then do the API. Okay, so that makes me think then let's do Blazor Server then. I like that idea, and that makes me think let's do Blazor Server, and that will be the front end we start with. Doesn't have to be the front end we keep forever, but that'll be where we start. David, Lisp? No Lisp over here. That's Ryan's domain. Ryan is our resident Lisp guy. So we've come full circle. We were exploring JavaScript front ends, and now we are gonna do a .NET front end. So where is... Let's see, there's Blazor WebAssembly, Blazor Web App. I'm not sure exactly which one I want. There's Blazor Maui. Let's see. (2026), which Blazor template do I need to use? Use the Blazor web app template for most projects. This consolidated template supports both server-side and client-side rendering, allowing you to choose interactivity. That's great, but I don't really need... I just want to do server-side rendering. Hosting model, let's see, tooling. Bigger. Blazor web app project template Blazor. Let's see. Interactive server-side rendering is enabled with the server option. To enable only interactivity with client-side rendering, use the WebAssembly option. To enable both interactive rendering modes, the ability to automatically switch between them at runtime, use the auto. If interactivity is set to none, the generated app has no interactivity. .NET new Blazor dash help. .NET new Blazor dash help. Okay, so we're gonna do .NET new Blazor dash int server Neil Thompson, ever use symlinks? I think I've used symlinks before, like symbolic links, you mean? Yeah, I've used that before. Parabender, you also want something that has HTTP support in its standard library? Yes. Yep. The backend's already been decided. We've already been building the backend. The backend is built in .NET. Elmani and I heard about this new AI called Dance 2.0. It can generate video that has pretty good. That is pretty good in my opinion. You can still see more morphing, but I think a video generated in Dance is better than video generated in ChatGPT, Midjourney, or Gemini. Well, that's pretty cool. I don't do much AI video generation or have much need for it, but that's pretty cool. All right, so .NET new Blazor, int server, and then I want this to be empty. -e. Yeah, okay. And then we also need to, whoops. We also need to cd into the other source. We're going to put this in physical os.web. Yeah, that sounds good. All right. .NET cd, .NET sln add. Web. Cool. So this should be pretty bare bones. We have Razor components, we have interactive server, we have the request pipeline. Got status code pages. Oh, you know what though? I just thought about something. If we do this in Blazor server, I can't use NeoVim to edit this project because I don't have support for Razor, the Razor syntax in NeoVim. So I'd have to use Visual Studio Code to work on the Blazor side of this. Yuck. Yeah, yuck. That's a. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Visual Studio Code. I shouldn't say yuck. What I should say is that's not what I wanted to do. I kind of wanted to stay in NeoVim. God, it would really help if I would make up my mind, wouldn't it? Let's see, git stash. rm-fo. Okay, so we're back to where we were. We're using Vue. Let's see, Vue setup. Fairbender, I don't know NeoVim. NeoVim's pretty good. It's like a terminal-based editor. You can read more about it at neovim.io. Yeah, neovim.io. It's pretty cool little piece of technology. It's kind of, you can kind of like extend it to make it very similar to VS Code in a lot of ways. It's not going to be totally on par, but close enough. Luis Opic, did you write or are you reviewing code from AI? I am writing this. No AI used in the making of this app. Which is, that's not really true. I use AI like in the chat interface, like in Gemini chat or Copilot chat, but I don't really haven't been using the AI products in the actual authoring of the code. But I've been like using it to research and ideate and explore different ideas and stuff like that. But I haven't been using it to author code much. Which doesn't mean you don't have to live your life that way, you know? You can build however best suits you. Pairbender, why not for learning purposes? I use the crap out of AI. You're more than welcome to use AI. My thing about using AI at the moment is just I think AI gives me a false sense of my own abilities. That's probably fine for the package name. I'm gonna use Vue. Official Vue starter? What's that? That looks interesting. I don't think I've ever used that before. Use Vite 8 beta. The future default Vite, which is powered by rolldown. Sure. Give it to me. We do want TypeScript. We do want JSX support. We want the router. We want Pina. We want Vite test. We want all of it. Give us all the features. Select it in testing framework. Playwright, duh. Select it experimental features to include in your projects. Replace Prettier with Ox, no. V8, yes. Vue 3.6, sure. Give me all the beta features. Which package manager will you use? NPM's fine. Skip all example code. Start with a blank Vue project. Yes. Okay. When you started using Vue, bro? I've been using Vue for the last like 2 years. We were at one point at work, we were considering rewriting our front end in a new tech stack, and we went on a very long exploration project down several different rabbit holes, and one of those rabbit holes was Vue. And I kind of fell in love with Vue through that process, and so I've been using it to build front ends mostly for the last couple of years. Pairbender, I understand that. It's going to be a detriment for learning, but for making something faster, it will be better. Oh, for sure. If you're concerned with delivering shareholder value, you probably have to be an AI fanboy. Are you French? I'm not French. Why Vue though? I don't know. Just I think the thing that really captured me about Vue was the fact that they kind of had testing top of mind, right? It's very easy to test. I love the provide and inject framework that they have for basically kind of almost like a built-in DI system. I think it's nice that it's kind of opinionated, right? That like this is how we think you should do things. Yeah, I like the single file components. It's nice, you know. just preference, right? It's just taste. Taste, it's preference. It doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It just is, you know? Hello, Max. Good to see you. What's Oxlent RC? I thought I didn't opt into Oxlent RC. Let's do some exploring at what this template looks like. Good morning, Born to Shine. Good to see you. I'm doing well. Yeah, life's good. I'm drinking my coffee. I got some Gatorade. You know, it's good. Life's good. Let's see, Parabender, not just making money, just getting stuff done faster, whether for money or not. Yeah, but so why do you need to get things done faster, right? Like, what's the motivation there? Because I don't have that motivation. Like, I have 20 something years until I retire. Like, I'm 32 now. I'm probably not going to retire until I'm 52, 55, 60 years old. I've got a lot of money left to pile into my retirement account. So I don't know why we're in a hurry. What's the rush? Why are we trying to build software really, really fast? Good morning, Simon. How are you? Let's see, I thought I was going crazy. Then I realized the other messages were from Discord. No, the messages here in StreamerBot are from YouTube and Twitch. Yeah, that's where the if you're on Twitch or if you're seeing the messages on YouTube over here, they are Twitch and YouTube combined. That's where they're coming from. The faster you get stuff done when trying to push yourself, the less you learn in my experience. Yeah, I think that's the most dangerous part about using AI, because I think AI gives you the illusion that you feel like you're moving really quickly and you're also learning. Like, you think you like see the code the AI spits out, and you're like,
just become best friends?
Strong boy, thanks for following the channel. That's the dangerous thing about AI, is AI gives you the feeling of like, I'm moving incredibly fast and I'm also learning incredibly fast. But really, I think AI is much more like tutorial hell, where it makes you think you're learning, but if I was to turn your LLM off, you would be like, wait, what? How do I do that? I don't remember how that works. I know I did that one time, but now I don't remember. Or I don't really understand how this fits together. Which I don't find that as a good feeling. That to me does not feel like a good feeling. Some people don't care, and that's fine too. Like, if you want to be dependent on AI, that's totally fine. Like, I have no judgment about it. It's just for my own personal feelings, I don't like it. Kurt, also good luck debugging AI code. Yeah, or just reasoning about it in general, depending on how big the code base is. Luis, I asked because the trends are telling us that
Uncle
almost
Pee-wee
everyone...
is telling you to drink some coffee.
Good morning, Uncle Pee-wee, and thank you for looking out for me like that. I asked because the trends are telling us that almost everyone uses AI to code. I'm glad to find not everybody uses AI. I hate the idea of vibe coding. Yeah, like I just want everyone to be perfectly clear. If you like to vibe code or you like to do agentic development, we can be friends. I'm okay with that. That it's okay for you to enjoy something and me not to enjoy something, right? I have friends who don't like to lift weights. I love to lift weights, right? So I'm not making a moral judgment or giving advice or necessarily telling you this is what I think you should do. I'm just talking for myself, right? And for myself, Lewis, I just think that it's important that you be aware of AI and you know how to work with AI if you're asked to do it. But I don't think you should give up on your own personal development in the skill of programming and coding, because I think through writing code and through building things, that's where you develop the intuition and the experience and the decision making that allows you to actually use AI in an effective way. That's my opinion. I know right now there's a lot of FOMO. There's a lot of people out there trying to scare people that either software engineering is dead, or you're going to be left on the side of the road if you don't use agentic AI and you don't have 10 terminals of Claude code going at once and you're not on the Claude $200 a month plan. I think that's bullshit. That's just me. I think it's just a few people who hype up AI and they're paid to do this. 100% this is happening. I'm here today until the end of the live. I've been absent for weeks, so I want to hang out with you guys. Yeah, come hang out, man. We're going to try to get our front end wired up. Pairbender, yeah, I've been programming by hand for 15 years, so 100%. And Pairbender is a great example of somebody who's probably already reached a certain level of mastery. So using AI probably doesn't give him pause for concern. But I guess for somebody like me, it gives me pause for concern. I don't know, Maxi. I don't know if it's better to necessarily search all over the internet to find information. I still think AI is very helpful for consolidating information and getting answers to your questions quickly. But I do think there is something to be said about being like an active participant in the process of learning. And I think AI makes it very easy to just sit back and kind of absolve yourself of participation or give you the false sense that you're participating when you're really not. Bob, I'm at the point now where I think someone starting today needs to learn code and how to code with AI. I can't really disagree with you. I think you have. I think in today's job market, you can't say you don't know how to use AI or you don't want to use AI. I don't think that's going to take you very far. But I just wonder how much, how good, how like what is the delta between somebody who's been coding like Pairbender for 15 years and is using AI and someone who's brand new and they're using AI? Like those situations to me are wholly different. Like it it almost seems like Pairbender has an unfair advantage in that world because he has 15 years of experience of like taste and intuition of taste and intuition built up that he can use in his usage of AI that the new person doesn't. Hello, Oblivion. Good to see you. Also, I swear I'm not fake. I'm not AI. I promise. Which is what the AI would tell you if they wanted you to believe they weren't AI. But I'm not AI. How you use AI is definitely going to depend on what experience you bring to the table. Yeah, but I also worry that like people who don't have a lot of experience, who get told to use a lot of AI, I feel like that could also be robbing them of the opportunities to gain the experience necessary to be good at using it. I know it's like this catch-22. It's like this chicken or the egg problem almost. Yes, but it's more like that people go do this, no, that's fucked up, fix it, stuff like that. AI is making people too relaxed, making them seem dumber. I think AI is giving the people the sense that they're accomplishing and learning, but I don't think they really are, in my opinion. Pairbender, can't you use AI to teach you though? I mean, I guess you can, but I think AI offers the easy button to people, and I think inherently humans choose the path of least resistance. Like, just ask the AI, are you doing this or that, etc. I'm not saying that AI can't be used to learn stuff. I just don't know if that's how a lot of people end up using it. Then he made a post because he got mad we called him AI. Oblivion said every AI ever. Let's see. I have like 5,500 books on my tablet with like 50 being my main go-to, and they're just full of quotes, highlights, bookmarks. It's been helping me learn better than tutorials and AI. Well, I'm glad Boris, that you found a way that works for you. I think it's important for everybody to find a way to learn that helps them. See, looking at analytics, most companies who delegated work to AI on the whim are heavily regretting it now. Let's see. Steven is one big psyop. He's hosted on a Google server. Yeah, I'm an AI that's hosted on a Google server that shills for Microsoft. Let's see. I think AI should be for senior engineers, not for beginners or intermediate engineers. The more you're good at programming, the better you can prompt. You can manage the AI trash bin. I think that's valid. That's valid. Let's see. I think when people press the easy button too many times and end up with unreadable, unmaintainable code base, they will learn to read more what it's doing. It's been a process for me too. Yeah. Yeah, there is some of this that's like natural consequences, right? That's what you're describing is like you fuck it up and then you realize that was a bad approach, so let's not do that again. I don't know. After working in fitness, I worked in the fitness industry for about a decade, and I feel like sometimes when we tell people, well, here's an LLM, you can use the LLM to learn, right? Don't use it just to do things for you. Don't allow it just to think for you or make decisions for you. It's to me that's kind of like handing somebody who struggles with their weight, handing them a box of Oreos and saying, you know, don't eat these. Don't put the Oreos in your house, and don't eat these. Or it's more like somebody who says, I really struggle with my weight. My biggest crutch is Oreos. And then me proceeding them to tell them, okay, well, go ahead and go to the store, buy the Oreos, put them in the pantry, and you can eat one a day, right? You can eat one a day and you'll still be able to lose weight. That's to me, it's kind of the same thing where it's like LLMs make it too convenient to offload the hard work of like thinking about a problem and doing the heavy mental lifting, that it's kind of crazy to me to think like we're going to hand LLMs to like, you know, 15, 16, 18, 20, 25-year-old kids or 40-year-old, even 40-year-old adults and be like, here's this LLM. It can solve all the problems for you just out of the box. You can just ask it to and it'll just tell you. But what you really should do is you should use it to like learn and make yourself better. So don't just let it do all the thinking. It's like, wait a minute, have you guys ever interacted with other human beings? Like that's not really, humans don't typically choose the harder path. We used AI for sentiment analysis for ticket temperature, and each time everyone said sorry, it marked it urgent. Let's see. Well, we had that before AI. It was called copy pasting from Stack Overflow. I mean, I understand what you're saying, Pairbender, but it's a whole different level of scale, in my opinion, than just copy pasting. Let's see. LLM to learn is greater, or architecting the entire project data relationship and letting the LLM be a coding monkey are the best use cases, in my opinion. I, Justin, I value that take. Also, good morning, Justin. Good to see you. I didn't see you enter chat. Let's see, if you're in school or learning, I think AI is like steroids. You get gains fast, but the minute you get off, you lose your mass. Just gain a ton of the back pimples. Boris, that analogy resonates with me. Well, Bob, congratulations on the weight loss, man. That's awesome. Urgent ticket. Customers pissed. Let's see, Justin. Everyone here has chosen the harder path. At least most of us are coders. Yeah, yeah. I mean, but I feel like a lot of us. I don't know if did a lot of us learn prior to 2021. Like I'd be interested. How many people here learned how to code before ChatGPT was available? Pairbender, your question, why code things fast, is a good one. I don't have a great answer. I think maybe you're right. If you're trying to get a result, then the code is a means to an end. If the code is meant to last, then understanding every bit is very important. There's also an in-between where you are doing exploration and you don't know what you're building yet. In that kind of case, you can use AI to write a POC, and then once you know kind of what API, UI you want, you can start over more carefully. I love that. I love that, Pairbender. I love that. Let's see, Justin, I did. I graduated June 2021, never used AI in school. That would have been me. I started writing code in 2020. Well, I learned how to write C# in 2015. I learned some basic web technology in 2018, and then I got really serious about coding in 2020. Oblivion's been coding since 2008. Okay. RWC is not me. I started learning code in 2009. Kurtz, I did make a Telegram bot when I was 12, way before AI. Yeah, see, there's a lot of us here who, it seems like there's the vast majority of people here learned how to code pre-AI, right? So it's like we didn't have a choice. We chose the harder path because that was the only path. But now in the world of AI, like that to me is why I'm suspicious of how this is all going to play out. Like, what happens in 15 years when everybody who's working in software engineering, like they need an LLM. Like, I cannot do this without an LLM. Maybe that's the way the world's supposed to go. I don't know. Like, I'm just a 32-year-old dad in his basement, just rambling about his own thoughts, trying to make sense of all this. But it's just something I'm thinking about. My prediction is that software quality will go down while productivity will go up. And I guess if you listen to the AI bros, they're the ones out there saying that, like, we have to let go of our care of the code, right? They're the ones telling us, like, it doesn't matter anymore. Because the AI is the one that reads and writes the code. So it doesn't matter if the code is ugly or the quality is poor. I'm not saying I necessarily agree with that. I'm just saying that's the Steelman case, right, that people are making. They're basically saying, like, LLMs are the new abstraction, and so all the things we used to care about don't matter anymore. Perbinner, well, you are writing a finance app. I think I would like to know that who wrote it knows what the fuck it does. I don't know. The AI said that was okay. I don't know. Let's see, Screw, Stack Overflow, and SE, they were the most toxic, least helpful websites to ask questions about code ever to disgrace the internet. I will say I definitely used Stack Overflow to help me learn how to code, but I never asked a question on there because I was kind of afraid of the Stack Overflow community. They didn't seem like a nice group of folks. Code quality might not matter as much, but I still think it still does, because if you code as spaghetti, the LLM will get confused trying to understand it. Yeah, I would think some of it kind of compounds on itself, right? Like, poor quality code begets more poor quality code kind of thing. It's kind of hard to have an AI generate bad code if you know what you're doing, in my opinion. But I think doesn't that require a lot of, like, hand-holding of the AI, Justin? Like, you probably can't turn an AI loose for, like, endless hours generating code like people are talking about, right? And have it spit out perfect code all the time. Kurt, someone said something to me, but the chat was too fast. Oh, Ryan was just saying that Stack Overflow was kind of a toxic place to hang out. Stack Overflow was so scary. Okay, so I'm glad I'm not the only one who felt that way. There was other people that were scared of Stack Overflow. That's pretty funny. Let's see. I've been experimenting more with orchestration, so to say, and you really are bound to using a crap ton of plan.md, agents.md, and docs.md all over the project. Yeah, how do you fix the AI? Well, you just prompt it better. You just shove a bunch of instructions into its context window. Claude Opus 4.5 was a big leap in my experience. I've heard that sentiment from a lot of people, that Claude Opus 4.5 was their AI moment. Depends on what you mean by hand-holding. I would never let an AI do hours-long runs personally, but if you architect a proper feedback loop system, the AI holds its own hand. Interesting. But isn't that sort of like the opposite of what AI promises? Like, it's like, oh, well, AI is great, but first we got to engineer a bunch of stuff. We got to engineer this whole harness around it to make it actually good. It seems like that's the opposite. You know what I mean? It seems like it's the opposite of the promise of AI. Pierre Bender didn't know it went toxic. Well, I don't know if I'm not saying I'm not necessarily. That's more of like a personal opinion, Pierre Bender. Sorry, that's more like a. It wasn't like a statement of fact. More like a personal observation. Did you guys ever hear of GLM5 that was dropped? I have not heard of GLM5. Is that a new AI model? GLM5? Z.ai. I have not heard of this. Code with AI. Crush a week's worth in hours. So they're comparing themselves to Claude Opus, huh? Top tier on the SWE bench verified. Updated February 2nd, 2020. Or no. February 2nd. No, February 12th. Sorry. Oh wow, they've got a expensive. Who I'm sorry guys, I still don't understand who has money to spend on this stuff. This is crazy. Hold on, I fell behind in chat again. I'm sorry. The problem will come with security since AI is a statistical model. They won't account for more recent exploits. If you don't intentionally add better security, the code will eventually be pwned. Pwned? I don't know how to say that. I do not let AI just run forever. I don't even like when it edits more than one file at a time. So I'm kind of Pairbender. I'm kind of with you. I can't do the whole like 40 file change type of stuff that I see people doing with AI agents. It's too overwhelming for me, and I feel too disconnected.
Did we just
to
become best friends?
The follow away. Thanks for the follow, man. Appreciate you. Also, Steven, do you trust running random games off the internet? I probably wouldn't do that if it was me. You got to think of AI like an egghead, wide-eyed 20-year-old who's cracked at coding but has zero org knowledge, and the docs is the training that egghead has to go through. Oh no, that description of AI kind of sounds like me, although I'm not cracked at coding. Let's see, it's competitive, wins against Opus 4.5, yet it's fully open source on an MIT license at that. Wow. An MIT license, that's pretty crazy. It's 2 times better than X.
I like to say something.
Oogly googly, oogly, 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 googly, oogly.
Thank you very much for that. We appreciate this. Pond is supposed to be owned. Some people say pwned. Okay. I'm not up with all the internet slang. I think AI would actually be pretty good at writing documentation, and it's already talks in corpo speak, so scanning the code and writing up how-to should work pretty well. Boris, I'm completely bought into that usage of AI. AI for writing docs, AI for generating docs, AI for interrogating code bases that you're unfamiliar with. I am 100% a believer for that type of stuff. The biggest 3 things I have found so far for using AI effectively are unit tests, static type checking and linting, and having a sane file organization it can add stuff into. Yeah, but I thought AI is supposed to make software engineering useless. So, it's like, why? I thought AI was so good that we didn't have to have all this engineering around it. But to me, it sounds like what I'm hearing from you guys, and I think that this jives with what I hear from the broader conversation, is that AI can be really, really good, but it requires some really clever engineering to be put around it to really make it maximally useful, which to me is kind of the opposite of what the marketing folks are saying. I use AI for my confidence pages and switch them to Markdown. Nice, I like that. AI is really nice for spec and endpoint sheets. This I believe 100%. I like to use AI and C# to add XML comments to my code. I think it's really nice for that. Pairbender, no, it's not that good yet. Guys, so the thing is, though, software engineering is already dead. It's been dead for like 12 months, so I don't know. You guys must have not heard. It's the SWEs don't exist anymore. We have AI. We don't even need to hire juniors anymore. Well, in licensing, if you're releasing your own code, I think main ones would be MIT, Berkeley, GNU. I should read up on that topic. Well, MIT is just so permissive. That's the thing. When someone slaps an MIT license on something, it's basically like giving people free permission to take it and do whatever they want with it. But yeah, you're right. True, it's the opposite of what's being marketed. It's 100% the opposite of that. Busy Slim. It requires deep pockets to run the best AI models. This I believe, but like, I just don't know how the individual is supposed to, like, how are you supposed to tell people in college that, like, hey, you need to spend $200 a month so you can Claude Max yourself? It's been great for finding bugs at work. Like, there's a very little risk. It either finds it or it finds a red herring, then you check and try again. That sounds like a good use case. Actually fine-tuning a .NET MAUI solution right now. Very cool. No. Someone said AI dev. AI dev is dead in the next 2 years recently on Twitter. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. My timeline's wrong.
Did we just become best friends?
Cool Pants TV. Thanks for the follow, man. Also, great username. Pairbender. Do not listen to people who make money from AI. The funniest thing is that they are so obsessed with software engineering. They really are, and it's kind of interesting that they're not trying to put other types of professions out of work. That's what's super interesting. Like, you don't see them aggressively automating accountants or aggressively trying to automate lawyers. Like, they're sort of kind of dabbling in it a little bit. Like, you saw the Claude releases with the co-work thing. But for the most part, the AI companies are very, very aggressively targeting software engineering as the profession that is going to be its like killer app, which is very interesting. Justin, college students need to focus on building foundational skills, and in their senior year, they should be building concrete real-world projects. Yeah, I guess if you're a sane individual, that's the advice. But if you listen to everybody who's in the AI sphere, they're basically saying, well, that's a waste of time because engineering's dead. Also, I realized I've been chatting for like the better part of 30 minutes. We should just use the chat scene. we should just use the dedicated scene for this. I am trapped. Laugh my ass off. They know AI wouldn't allow corruption in the system. Yeah, that's probably it's probably a valid statement. Kurtz, I love the last hour of your stream is always about AI. AI consumes everything right now. It's animating so many conversations. It's also animating a lot of people's anxieties and fears at this time. So it makes sense that it's always going to be a conversation right now. But I bet in a year or 2 years, we're probably talking about something different on stream. David Bailey, once software AGI is accomplished, reasonably counting will fall fast. Law has too much ethics. I just think it's kind of fascinating that the AI companies aren't really targeting any other profession. And I think part of it is that they know that they will receive far more pushback from those other professions.
Did we just become best friends?
Brock, thanks for the sub on YouTube. I think they know they'll receive far more pushback because right now it's funny, they've sort of Trojan horse the developer community. Because if you're a developer, you would think you'd be concerned with AI taking your job. But now developers have become convinced that the only way to keep their jobs is to be an AI expert. But like, I think if they tried to do the same thing to lawyers or they tried to do the same thing to accountants, I think they they would get so much pushback from those professions and those industries, and that's why they're not going after them. But they know that they can sort of like AI pill the engineering ecosystem. But it's kind of fascinating to watch it play out. Parabender, if I lose my job to AI, it is what it is. I'll do something different. I'm with you there. I'm with you there, 100%, Parabender. I am trapped. I mean, I don't get accountancy not being targeted. Yeah, you would think it would be a ripe target for them, right? It's all very formulaic. It's all very rules based. It seems AI is very politicized in the US as well. Yes, I would agree with that. It's like when computer was invented, mathematicians at NASA used to run calculations by hand. Once CPUs were a thing, those same mathematicians became software engineers utilizing computers. It's totally valid analogy. Satham. Hello, Satham. Sorry I missed your hey buddy comment. Duckboy, don't think so. My sis is an accountant and she uses AI for assistance, but the accuracy risks are too much. But that's crazy because I would think the accuracy risks in software engineering would be on par with accountants, in my opinion. But I guess not. Uncle Pee Wee, does the USA law have ethics? No. Yeah. Well, they say they have ethics, Uncle Pee Wee. They claim they have ethics. I also think techies are just more willing to try new things. Let's shit break and gut the broken shit. Yeah, I also just don't think software developers have any type of political will or force, really, compared to people like accountants and lawyers. Like, they can bring a lot of lobbying power to bear. They are using AI to catch people with the mouse wiggle app or people generally not working. They're implementing that in tons of jobs like call centers and sales. Really? I haven't heard about this. This is a new trend. I haven't heard about this. The people I know in law need AI. They're overloaded, disorganized, but they can't leverage it due to confidentiality and privacy. Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, I feel like those professions. I just feel like those professions would be I feel like those professions would be as valid targets for automation as software engineering. But it seems like so much of the marketing and sales that I see is stuff that's directed at SWE, not those professions. Justin, chat is popping today. Glad to see it. We do have a lot of chat today. It's good. We got a lot of engagement. I appreciate you guys for coming and hanging out. Not sure if that's different from anywhere else, but you could go to jail for messing with the taxes. That's a good point. That's a good point, Duckboy. Yeah, the consequences of mistakes, right? There's some like what do you call it? Like liability, right? Like software engineers don't get prosecuted for fucking things up in code on accident, right? They could probably get prosecuted if they did things maliciously, right? But let's see. You mentioned like what do you do when you are learning to code in AI? Is an easy button to press that stunts your learning. Yeah, my advice if you're in school or learning is to write by hand, do what your teacher says. You use AI as a teacher. I think you're right. You need to be disciplined where before you would just fail. I guess there was cheating, copying people's code when I was in school, but it was harder. Yeah, it's just the barrier of being able to do I guess how much work you have to do to reach the easy button is a lot less with LLMs compared to how it used to be. You can mess anything, but just not taxes. This is true. So you could fix software bugs later, though. Yes, you could. AI will produce a lot more illiterate developers that will not be able to solve a simple problem. We start seeing it from people who can't code without Copilot. So Born to Shine, that's my biggest concern individually. Like, it's my biggest concern is like I don't want easy things to feel hard, you know?
If you like my content and want to keep up with future updates, hit that subscribe button. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Also join the Discord.
Thank you, Uncle Pee Wee, for doing my job. I appreciate that. See, I think if you don't understand something in school like Big O, you can ask AI and get all kinds of examples and stuff. Your teacher didn't explain well. This is true. This is true. I would probably be a big user of AI in college for that reason. Dang, how do you guys accumulate points so fast? I don't know. Uncle Pee-wee, I think, has been stacking up points for a long time. Duck Boy, automation is good. Yeah, automation is good. Expect interviewers to be more vigilant against people who don't know anything and uses AI to get through school. Yeah, this is, to me, would be the biggest fear, is that you would be asked to come in for an interview and somebody sits you down in like Notepad or asks you to go up on a whiteboard. But the thing is, like, it's weird because these two things don't seem like they should align. Like, at the same time, in one breath, we're saying software developers need to like up level their thinking. Don't worry about code and syntax. Only be concerned with like system level design. But then at the same time, we want people to demonstrate competency with the languages or the tech stacks that they're working with, without the assistance of AI. So it's a weird like dichotomy, right? It's like you're getting kind of conflicting advice, conflicting narratives from different people, and from different points of view almost, which is confusing. "25-day streak." That's how you do it, Uncle Pee-wee. Let's see, on-car gosh. These days, people are using AI as an autopilot instead of copilot. Yes, and that's my concern, on-car Josh. That's the concern I have. Is like, to me, it's very hard to be aware of the fact, when have you stopped using it as a copilot? When have you started using it as an autopilot, right? When you're like staring at your code and you're just hitting tab, 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 and then you turn the LLM off and you go to write like a controller. Let's say like you're in .NET and you go to add a new controller and you're like, wait a minute, what does a controller look like? What's public? Like, that's the stuff that makes me like second guess my usage of it. Microslop is a prime example of AI being used wrong. Did you see they replaced their Office library for some AI experience thing? I did not see that. That doesn't seem like a good idea. What's the command to say you can't see again? I think it's, if you do !help, it'll take you to the website that has all the commands on it, Artwork Studios. Boris, yeah, but old timers have been saying for generations, this generation is cooked. We have still been developing as a species, just with peaks and troughs. You're right. I'm right. I do sound a little bit like an old man shaking my fist at AI. Bob, I want to be like Scotty in Star Trek 4 when they went.
Screen, bruh.
Well, I'm not showing anything on the screen. We're just chatting right now. Let's see. I tell candidates who can use AI to help you investigate, but you can't use AI to generate code for the interview. We do this because, 1, we don't use AI for client work. Oh, okay. Interesting. 2, we are looking to understand your thought process, internal monologue, and the way you internalize problems and solve them. And so this is the part, Justin, number 2, what you described in number 2, is I feel like that's the stuff you lose out when you're always using AI to code. Like, you're delegating all that thought process, all that internal monologue, all the internalization, right? You're delegating all of that, and you're giving all those reps away to the LLM. That's just my personal experience. And I think that's the most important thing you get from the coding and the problem-solving aspect of sitting down to build something. Tyler, if I hear one more person talk about AI, I might actually scream. Well, that's all we're talking about. That's all we've been talking about for the past 40 minutes has been AI. So please mute the stream, Tyler. If you're hiring, wouldn't you want someone who is more productive with AI than they are without it, but knows data structures, algorithms, and can push back against the AI when it writes unreadable or buggy code? So Pairbender, I'm with you. I'm with you there on that one. The question is, how do you get to the place where you know data structures, algorithms, and can push back against the AI that writes the unreadable or buggy code if you yourself don't ever get the opportunity to do that? That's the part. It's like, that to me is the part that's missing, or that's the disconnect that I see right now in our world. Is like, how do you tell people to use AI, and then AI sort of takes away the opportunities to get to that point? It's again, it's back to this chicken or the egg thing. It's like, I don't understand how we get one from the other. The 80-20 rule, since all the harder materials almost always built off fundamentals, that's why the basic grind is still useful. I've had an easier time with code just knowing EE and logic. Very cool. Finally found it. Free text to speech, LOL. Good thing Steven added a cooldown. Yes, I Am Blind has a cooldown on it. The hard part is building the discipline to manually review everything the AI generates. It's annoying and tedious, but it's worth it. Yeah. Let's see. Didn't some CompTIA exams allow you to bring notes, just not any phones or laptops? I've never taken a CompTIA exam. So if they did do that, I think that's pretty cool. Nice try, Uncle Pee-wee. I don't know who that guy is. Depends. The hiring question, yeah. Not gonna lie, I'm gonna have your streams up while I work on my projects. No worries. This is so oddly comforting. You're welcome to hang out here anytime. It's like a virtual coffee shop. We just it's like a bunch of old men sitting in the coffee shop at your at the old broken down convenience store in your hometown. Every time you go in there, it's the same 3 old guys just rambling about nonsense. We're basically trying to recreate the virtual version of that. What came first though, chicken or egg? I don't know. Let's see. I hope if you're going to school, they expect you to learn those things, or if not, you are doing those things online. Yeah, I would hope so. It's just, I think it's a lot of onus to put on individuals. But I totally understand what you're saying, Pairbender. I think AI can be an even better teacher than just reading books or going to school. I've had a ton of success using AI to help me figure things out. We used AI a ton when we were doing the Rust learning stuff. I thought it was very helpful for that. The fall away lurkin is nice. Well, everyone's always welcome to lurk here. We even have a command for it. ! Lurk. Busy Slim. Analyze the responses from AI. Build in smaller increments, correct as you go so it aligns with the direction you want to push in. I love this approach. I love that I'm talking to people who have like a sensible take on AI. I feel like I've somehow fallen into the right group of AI people. And none of you, you guys all sound completely different than what I see on X. It's pretty nice to hear these sensible takes. On Cargo Josh, by the way, where are we on the app? We are currently at the point where we're going to add the front end. So we're going to build a Vue front end, and we're going to tie that into Aspire. What coffee is everyone drinking? I had blonde espresso with oat milk. I had espresso roast, 2 shots of espresso. I had a long black, essentially. So like this much water, and then 2 shots of espresso.
I'd like to say something.
The exam results came in, and you got a grade of awesome streamer. My sprinkler goes like this. Comes back like.
Does your PC have Vulkan drivers? I don't know. How do I look that up, Artwork Studios? I don't think it does have Vulkan drivers, but I don't know exactly how to look that up. Nowadays, I can see there's lots of posts in AI, especially they're telling automation testing, and the one going to burn first because it's very good at handling DOM. I'm also an engineer. Yeah, I'm just along for the ride, honestly. I'm doing my best to try to make sense of all this, but I have no idea where all this AI stuff is going.
Did we just become best friends?
Huang, thanks for the subscription. I appreciate you. This has reminded me of the dependency frustration, like when interviewers were getting mad because candidates would just answer everything with import X, import function X. Yeah. So that's what we're gonna do in interviews now. Is just I don't know, ask Copilot. Stay off X, mate. This is good advice, David Bailey. I deleted X from all my phones, actually. I am lurking. What does that mean? It means you can just hang out and chill, and you've let everyone know that you're here and you're listening, but you're just chilling. Check out Playwright before using AI for something like web app automation testing. Yeah, Playwright's fantastic. Nestcaf, I like it. Nothing wrong with some Nestcaf. Basically, any newer PC should have Vulkan. Okay, well then maybe my PC has Vulkan then. Justin Martinez, let's build a pair programming website in C# and Convex. That sounds like a blast. Yeah, that sounds like a ton of fun. I would love to do that. Delete System 32. It'll show you. Uncle Pee, I'm not gonna fall for any of this practical jokes you're trying to play on me. I'm not gonna fall for it. Getting your first job can be really tough. It was actually really bad for me. People expected me to know things that you need experience to know. I also did many like leak code on the whiteboard type stuff. I would just say school or before you get a job is supposed to be a time where you have the time to take your time and learn first principles. It is really tough. Yeah, expecting people to know things that you need experience to know is not fair and not cool. Totally agree with that. I'm practicing on Golang questions for Arden Labs Golang certification. Very cool. You know how I feel about Go. I like Go. All your phones? All right now, big fella. My kids love to call me big fella. They think it's so funny to call me big fella. Leak code problems rot your brain. I don't know if they rot your brain, but they don't always seem particularly helpful for building actual software. Wait, you can use Playwright for testing? Yes. Oh, you mean it's funny because I've actually seen a huge pushback in the Playwright community right now that the Playwright package has essentially been overtaken by AI. Which, like, it's kind of a valid critique. I know you at least giggle when you read them. At least I do giggle, Uncle Pee-wee. So thank you very much for keeping the stream fun and lighthearted. I appreciate you.
Did we just become best friends?
That Bash Script Kid, thanks for the follow. Also great username. You guys, some of you guys have really good usernames. Mine's very boring, very vanilla. Going back to the interview conversation, Stephen, usually this is why it's good to have a layered technical interview. It's super annoying as a candidate, but it's sadly required to properly vet someone. That makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. Since my wife is pregnant, the boys called her Big Mama. As long as, I mean, I'm totally fine with my boys doing that as long as I know the person they're talking to is like pretty chill. But I'm sure there's some moms that if you said that, they would get upset. Let's see. For me, I give three technical interview options. The candidate has to select two: standard leak code algo question, a whiteboard architecture question, and a bug fix and a sample project. I think I would, if I had to pick, I would pick the whiteboard and the bug fix. I would probably run away from the leak code and the algo question. Let's see. I've never been in a hiring position, but I guess the balance between hiring experience versus inexperience is old versus new knowledge, high versus low salary. There's a sweet spot in there in the middle, I think. Yeah, and I think a lot of it has to do with what you intend this person to be responsible for. Like what are you hiring this person for, right? If you're hiring somebody to like build out a brand new solution or build out an entire team, right? That's different than hiring for somebody who's going to backfill, you know, the person that handles all your like low, easy bug reports. The answer for big fella is okay, little bro. Yeah, I just you know, I wrestle my children into submission. That's my response to it. Let's see, I'm so long-winded. I have to send my chats in twos. You're not long-winded. You, you're what's it's not long-winded. It's you're a good communicator. Kurtz, don't teach him Gen Z slang. I have to kind of stay up with all the slang. You know, I've got 2 young boys at home. I got to make sure they're not sneaking anything by me. If you are inexperienced, you are being hired for cheap and new knowledge to the table, right? Yeah, it's trade-offs. Yeah, it's trade-offs. Yeah, 100%. Most people choose latter two, but so many folks have invested time into elite code, so it's a way to honor that work. I think that's really nice of you, Justin. It's nice that you give people autonomy to choose. It's very nice. Happy Chinese New Year to you as well, Artwork. I don't celebrate, but for those of you who celebrate, Happy Chinese New Year. You're held back by the chains of the character limit. Steven says, if I'm not... I called you Uncle PP one time, okay? It was an accident. It was an accident. It was an accident. Oh man, there was a lot of chat today. I felt like I was having a hard time keeping up with it. I apologize if I missed anybody's chat. Appreciate you guys. On card Josh, talking about interview, I recently had one with a big tech finance. They asked to derive height of a binary tree on a Google Doc. What the fuck are we doing? That's intense. If somebody, like, if I got that question in an interview, I think I would literally just be like, I have no idea how to do that. I would probably need some time to research it. Like, I guess the interview would just end right then and there on card Josh. I don't just, holy shit. Uncle Pee-wee off to work, fam. Okay, see you, Uncle Pee-wee. Have a good day. Laugh my ass off what? So they wanted you to write code in a Google Doc? Oh, I meant you? Oh, I have a few minutes, but yeah, I have to work today. I don't get President's Day off, unfortunately. That's so gross, but likely they're using Google Docs change tracking to make sure you're not using AI. But like, what a weird way to solve the problem. Oh, so they asked you to do it in a Google Doc. I thought you had to derive a binary tree that was related to a Google Doc or something. Interesting. That's super, super weird. I don't think I would pass that either way. I don't think I would pass that. How many days do you have to work per week, Steven? Oh, I just have a 5-hour workday, just like a normal like business hours. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 type of thing. The company I work for is really great. I mean, they treat us all like adults. Like, as long as you behave like an adult, which what I mean is, as long as you're on top of your shit, you know what you're supposed to be doing, you meet your deadlines, you over communicate, be on time and show up for meetings when you're expected. Like, as long as you handle your business as a professional, they treat us with a lot of autonomy. So we have a lot of freedom to kind of manage our work and our schedules, which is nice. It's one of the best things about the job. I would just straight up refuse that test. That's why I like giving people autonomy. Yeah, it's like, I don't even know, like, I don't want to necessarily refuse it because I do believe I could figure, if somebody asks me a problem, I do believe that on a long enough timeline I can solve the problem. So I would probably just say, like, right now today I don't think I can answer that question, but if left alone for a little while, like, I could get you an answer, right? Like, I could eventually, but it does seem like kind of an arbitrary test. Hoang. Hi, Steven. I keep hearing about shift left, but coming from a traditional QA background, it still feels a bit abstract. Could you explain what shift left looks like in your daily work as a QE? So for us, shift left largely means trying to move as much of the work that we do after code has been deployed to an environment to as part of the development process itself.
Crazy? I was crazy once. They locked me in a room. A rubber room. A rubber room with rats. And rats make me crazy. Crazy. I was crazy once. They locked
This
me
is
in
a random text to
rubber
speech,
room,
Uncle
a
Pee
rubber
Wee.
room with rats.
So random. But great question, Honk. But like for me, that largely just means taking things that we normally do manual regression and moving them into an automated regression suite. It means advocating for unit testing of code as part of the actual development lifecycle and not something that's considered not our job or not something we're responsible for. I think a lot of shift left testing has to do with getting testers and QA people or business analysts, whoever the person is that's sort of the person that's going to validate requirements and specifications, getting them involved in the process much sooner than like chucking finished work over the wall to them and be like, here you go and test it, right? So I guess from my perspective, it kind of has two prongs. One is a process thing where you get quality testers, business analysts, you get them involved very early on in the development lifecycle, and then finding ways to actually move testing from this inspection thing where like you're trying to inspect quality into the product and instead you're almost like trying to engineer quality into the product. And that can be hard depending on the organization, like depending on where you work, the technologies you work, how old the project is, who you're working with, the skills of the individuals you work on, how far you're going to get with all that stuff is going to vary. But for me, it's always been beneficial. The earlier we can move that work of like finding defects or detecting defects, the earlier on in the process you find them, the better off everybody is. Unk is creative. He is very creative. Let's see. Oh, I could have figured it out. I just think the kind of technical tests orgs use to vet candidates reflect deeply on the kind of culture they have. Coding in a Google Doc shows me they don't know what the fuck they're doing, don't know what they're testing for, don't know what skills are actually required for the job. Shitty tests, which is why I would refuse. Not that I couldn't figure it out. Yeah, it is kind of a shitty test. I think a lot of bad interviewing practices are less of a reflection of the person being interviewed and have far more to do with just the folks doing the interview not putting in the time, right, to have a good interview process. See, proud of you, bro. You on Discord? Let me see if I can help you track down some work. That's awesome, dude. That's so nice of you, Justin. Try picking up a project from 8 years ago written in Ruby and has no documentation, and on top of that makes you $500,000. Oh, that sounds like a completely different kind of experience. Yeah. I would like to try to pick up Ruby, though. That is a language. I would like to specifically try to pick up Ruby on Rails. I think it would be cool to be able to work at 37 signals one day. Let's see. I said I didn't have hiring experience, but I actually did help once. The person who got turned down tried to BS when they didn't know / didn't have experience instead of just admitting it. Of course, we hoped they knew / had experience at certain things, but we didn't expect them to know everything. And I would have had a better impression if they said they didn't know and just asked me about it. Well, when I was interviewing for new jobs in the summer last year, well, in the spring, in 2025, I basically spent, I don't know, like February to May. I finally got an offer in July of last summer, but I spent like better part of 4 or 5 months applying and interviewing for jobs. And I must have said, I don't know, probably half dozen times over that period. But I'm not. I mean, it's much easier to say that when you don't really need a job because you already have a job. right? It's much easier to go into an interview and be much more relaxed and comfortable and secure when you're not in desperate need of something. So I understand people who feel pressure to try to know everything, but yeah, I want to work for people who value honesty and who value people who can admit that they don't know something or are wrong about something. Uncle Pee Wee, I applied at 70 jobs, got declined, then got accepted at a very nice company. It's a grind, man. Hunting for a job sucks. It's the worst. It's the absolute worst. It's way better to just admit your own limitations. Not everyone can be a master of everything. 100%. Nor do you want everyone to be a master of everything, right? Like that's not sustainable in 2026. Yeah, desperation makes liars of most. I emphasize with being so worried that you try to lie to secure your safety. Exactly. When you have a family, when you have people counting on you, like if I didn't have a job and I had a wife and kids and bills to pay and mouths to feed, just like I mean I have that situation. If I lost my job tomorrow and had to go find a new gig, yeah, you better believe I'm going to feel a little bit differently sitting in interviews because I want to try to maximize I want to try to maximize my ability to start earning an income again. So I understand people who have the temptation to try to bullshit their way through things, but I think 9 times out of 10 it backfires on you. Yeah, same. As a dad, if I didn't have a job, I would do whatever it took to find a new gig, lie, charm, skill up, anything. Yeah, yeah. There's not much I wouldn't do to take care of my family. I'm not a monster, but I am their monster in a lot of ways. Like I would probably go to the end of the earth to make sure I take care of that. Death bullshitting always catch up to you. It does. It comes back. But man, if that means I can I think we all agree. If that means you can put food on your table, if you had to bullshit your way through something so you can put some food on your table, seems like a decent trade-off to me. Yeah, it's funny how your ethics and your morals kind of they kind of shift around a lot when it comes to taking care of your family. I did get an offer at Walmart corporate office a week after I left, which was annoying. I wasn't about to move 3 hours with 1-year-olds. Yeah, that's too big of a move. I feel that. Walmart seems like it would be a decent, especially if you worked in the corporate arm. Also, Walmart corporate is located in a very nice place of the United States. That Northwest Arkansas area is so freaking nice. So pretty. Lots to do. Let's see, in software, the stakes might not be that high, but stuff like working with heavy equipment, if you lie about your skill level, that could lead to some bad outcomes. Yes, yeah. Yeah, you probably, I'm thinking about like somebody interviewing to be a doctor or something and lying about their ability to do a procedure. Yeah, not good. Not good. Reminder, almost 7:15. It is. Yep. I need to probably go get showered up. Well, you gotta hope the person you're bullshitting doesn't know their shit, but in my case, I was helping hire my replacement. So I knew my shit and I was asking specific questions so that person could take over where I left off. Nice. You mean the new Tornado Alley? Have they had tornadoes recently? I feel like Northwest Arkansas never gets hit by tornadoes. I feel like the tornadoes always hit all those Oklahoma towns along the I-44 corridor. Like those towns just get nailed every time. Every time we have a big storm come through the 4 states, those people never escape. I've heard many stories from friends in the dev space having to deal with quote unquote seniors who know nothing about computers. That sounds awful. I like where Microsoft is located. That area seems nice. I've never been to the northwest part of the United States. I would love to visit sometime, but I've never been up there. Hello, Bash Script Kid. Hi, finally freed from the timer. Did it really take that long? I'm sorry, man. The timer's there to keep like the troll people out, so I'm sorry that you have to wait. But I'm glad you stuck around long enough to leave a comment. Good morning, Pyro Boots. How are you?
Did we just become best friends?
Jamie P, I think. Jamie, hello. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate you. I have a level 2 that is like that, uses AI for everything. Don't think I'd like that. Every time I've been to Seattle, it's been cold, gray, and drizzly. I kind of vibe with that though, Bob, personally. Like the moody weather. Kind of vibe with that. The Bash Script Kid, 10 minutes is about a bit long. So I know it is long. I think on YouTube I have it set for 5 minutes, but I think Twitch only allows me to go to 10 minutes. I don't think I can make it any shorter. I think last time chat brought this up, I looked and I don't think I could make it any. Let me see real quick again. Which is unfortunate because I do agree it is a little long. But I put it there because I'd rather chat be a nice place than like a spammy trolly place. Let's see, moderation maybe. Where's that setting at? Moderation settings. Let's see. Enabled viewers must follow you for the specified amount of time before they're allowed to post messages in your channel. So I can turn followers only mode off. I can set followers only mode to 0 minutes, so basically anybody who follows. Or I can do 10 minutes, which is the most used. And I feel like the thing is, I feel like having some sort of time-bound restriction on it makes it so that people who sit around or who hang around to chat are people with actually like positive intentions and not rude, angry, mean folks who just want to ruin everyone's day. 72 hours. You must subscribe for 3 days before you can chat here. Yeah, gray and dull is my comfy zone. Yeah, I kind of like the moody. I kind of like the moody weather. It's a vibe. I kind of fuck with it. All right, guys. Well, it is 7:17, which means for me it's time to go. I realize I basically wrote no code today. I read some SolidJS docs. I scaffolded a Vue project, and then I just chatted about AI for like an hour and a half. But I appreciate you all hanging out with me. This has been fun. Yeah, I mean, if you don't write any code, you can't create any bugs, right? Nah, Steven today was fire. Oh, I appreciate you guys hanging out. This was fun. Yeah, I appreciate you guys very much. What if one comes with a cursed knowledge as another way to ruin people's day? I don't know how to protect against this. You offer a good point, Bash Script, but I don't know how to protect against that one. I just know that most trolls are kind of lazy, and so if they have to sit and wait 10 or 5 minutes to troll, they're probably going to move on. Steven, can you help me connect to Oblivion? Yeah, for sure. Are you guys in the Discord? Yeah, I can connect you guys in Discord. I'll ping you guys in a message. All right, guys. Oh, you just pinged in Discord? Okay, cool. Yeah, general. Cool. Born to Shine, thanks for hanging out, dude. Appreciate you. All right, I'm going to get ready for the day. I'm going to do my normal wrap-up. If you're new here and you want to come back and hang out in the future, which I promise sometimes I do write code on stream, you can come back, and we're usually live 4:15 to 7 a.m. each morning on Twitch and YouTube. I just put the schedule in the chat for you. And if you'd like to hang out outside of the stream, the best place to find us is in the Discord, discord.stevenfreeborn.com. I put that link in the chat as well. Otherwise, we will see you guys tomorrow morning, I guess. Yeah? All right. Bye, Boris. Bye, Uncle Pee-wee. Bye, Bob. Have a good day. Bye, Pairbender. Bye, Justin. Have a great day, Duck Boy. Appreciate you, Born to Shine. See you, Oblivion. Bye, the Bash Script Kid. Sorry you had to wait so long to chat, man. I'm sorry. Come back tomorrow. See you, Boris. Let's see. Who else? Pyro Boots. See you, Pyro Boots. Good to see you. On Car Josh. Bye. Hope you have a good day. All right, chat. I'm out of here. Bye. See you guys. Have a great day. Talk to y'all later.